We truly believe that science is a tool that can solve the world's biggest challenges. We want to give every student the opportunity to experiment so that they can be the change makers of tomorrow. At Lab4U, we leverage the built-in sensors that smartphones and tablets have in order to design experiments so that students and teachers around the world can experiment with a lab in their pockets. In a category, let's say movement, you choose an experiment and it's going to guide you step by step on how to run the experiment. Here you'll see open accelerometer, new measurement, press go. Here my hand is not moving, so there's no change in the graph. But here when I start moving, you'll see the change in the graph.
3, 2, 1, go. Today we did a skateboard experiment with Lab4Physics, and pretty much what we did in that is we tested the iPad on different surfaces. It is highly entertaining and it's really engaging. I think it's really cool how you can just do it on your iPad.
We are democratizing science and changing the way science is taught by transforming smartphones and tablets into science instruments. 88% of the schools in Latin America don't have any lab equipment. When I saw that there were so many students that were curious but did not have the right tools to actually learn science, you need to live the experience of scientific experimentation. And you cannot learn how to ride a bicycle reading a book. You need to live that experience, right? That's when it really struck me and said, something must be done. We truly believe that if we can give every student the opportunity to have a lab in their pockets so that they can see the world around them and experiment, we can make a difference and we can have a better world.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elise Nelson, President and CEO of Vital Voices. I'm thrilled to be back at Women in the World and to have the opportunity to introduce you to another passionate powerhouse, Komal Dadlani. She, as you just saw, is the founder of Lab4U. And essentially what she's doing is taking mobile phones, of which there are, 8 billion in the world, taking mobile phones and turning them into portable labs. And what I find fascinating about you, Komal, and just reading about you and getting to know you in the last couple days, is that you really hadn't planned on doing this. A couple years ago, you didn't even know what a BC was, you didn't know what the word startup meant, and now here you are, CEO, co-founder of this company. But something must have happened. I mean, did you, what motivated you to take on this sort of totally different path?
Right, so I studied biochemistry at Universidad de Chile, back in Chile, and during my science education, I faced many problems, lack of equipment, but there are two things that really, changed my path, my career path. So my mother was going through a disease called cancer, and I went, while I was finishing my master's in biochemistry, I said, I would go to a research lab in cancer research and therapy and diagnostics. And at the same time, I was doing a lot of outreach activities in schools and universities, promoting science education. And sitting in the lab, it was like, I cannot make a difference alone, right? We need more scientists around the world solving world's biggest problems. And as you saw in the video, 88% of the schools don't have any labs. So there is a basic problem in science education. And to solve world's biggest problems, you need a real understanding of science. And that's when I saw a poster in my university called Startup Weekend Hackathon Change the World in 54 Hours, which is a bit difficult and impossible. And I went there and I met my co-founder, and that's where Lab4U came into place.
So I'm so curious about how an innovator becomes an innovator. And I look at your background. I know your parents were immigrants from India to Chile. I would imagine there weren't many people like you growing up.
Right.
Does being an outsider make you kind of more likely to, or even have an edge in being an innovator?
Well, I was bullied when I was in school quite a lot for being Indian in a school in Chile, for being vegetarian. So I think that makes you strong, and it gives you that edge to do things differently and try to solve things in a different way.
Yeah. I think everybody here knows certainly that getting more women and girls in STEM would certainly be a good thing, right, for equality's sake. But what I wonder is, do women bring something different? I mean, what I know in my work, working with women leaders around the world, is that women lead differently, and that difference, I believe, is very much needed. Would you say that the same thing is true in science, that women think about problems differently and thus their approach is different? What experience have you had with that?
Right, so what we've seen and what also research says, like physics education research, is that women, like, you know, we've gone to schools where you see in a girls' school, a girl would say, you know, I want to be a scientist, I want to help people, right? And research also says if you ask that same question to a boy, he says, yeah, I want to build cool stuff, right? Wow. So women have this tendency to want to solve problems and help people. So definitely, today we have a problem in STEM education. There's a leaking STEM pipeline where women lose interest, girls lose interest in science early on, like upper elementary. So
you started your work in Latin America,
Yes.
Chile and throughout Latin America, and I know that you're now part-time living in the United States. Have you brought your tool to US schools, and what's been that experience?
Yeah, so we started in Latin America, we started in Chile. We're working with many students around, and we moved recently to the US, and just like, you know, Hillary Clinton normally says, talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And we believe that, and I've seen that, and you know, I believe that, and I've seen that, and we also believe that the future Einstein or the future Marie Curie can be anywhere. It can be in China, Chile, Brazil, you know, the Midwest, or any other town around the world. And we are looking forward to empowering those future Einsteins and Marie Curies.
What's been the impact of your work to date?
So right now we're working with 20,000 students, and we see in our pilots doing pre-test and post-test that students increase their academic performance, they're more engaged in science, and we're actually helping teachers and students.
That's wonderful. What's your ultimate goal?
Well, we want to democratize science and change the way science is taught, and we know that the world is changing. You've got companies like Uber, for example, the world's largest, you know, transport and taxi provider, but they own no cars. Or Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, but they own no hotels. Facebook, the world's, you know, largest content provider, but creates no content. And we believe that Lab4U can be the world's largest educational lab experience provider, owning no lab equipment. And that way we can give everyone the opportunity to have a lab in their pockets.
That's fantastic. There's a lot of young women who are here in the audience. They've been watching the last couple days, and I'm sure are extremely inspired and probably thinking, I've got an idea. What advice do you have for them?
Well, it's really hard. So you need to really love what you're doing and truly believe in the beauty of your dreams. I mean, there's a beautiful quote, the future belongs to the ones who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So if you truly know that what you're doing matters and it matters to you and to your community, you can make a difference. So go ahead and do it, knowing that you'll make a difference.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Well, thank you for the opportunity.
For your courage, your strength, your example, and what, you're 28? It's pretty impressive.